Hello, Seeya.
Hello,
How are you?
nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Quite well.
Quite well, long
Yeah.
weekend.
Long weekend, East weekend. We have had better weather than we thought from the beginning. Now the sun is shining and like
Yes, and we have tea and
coffee.
and
And
also
now we
cookies.
are talking.
Now we are talking. A lot of things has happened around the world. While we are talking, we heard sad news.
Yeah.
The passed away of His Holiness Pope.
Yes. And just a few hours ago, I think it
Yes,
was just after 7 o'clock a.m.
absolutely. So
So that's a big loss.
it's a big loss. So we uh, pray for his soul.
Yeah.
And
We share the sorrow with all of you that has followed that news.
yes,
Of course, he was a very nice pope.
indeed he was.
He wanted to reform quite a lot. He was from Argentina, I think.
He was, I think. We can check
Yeah,
also.
he became 88 years old anyway.
Yeah. The time he was passing away.
You told me that now they are going to put in all the cardinals and have voting for a new pope. And you told me that you have a cardinal in Sri
Yes, in
Lanka that
Sri
is very
Lanka.
popular.
In Sri Lanka, we have a cardinal. His name is His Holiness Malcolm Ranjit,
Yeah.
and he is one of the person who has been suggested in the list
Okay.
for next pope. But there is a list of pope.
Yeah.
I mean cardinals who will be next pope.
Yeah.
And in our country, yes, His Holiness Malcolm Ranjit Cardinal has done a lot to the society and to the Catholic priests, Catholic churches, and community. He has a chance also, but at the
We'll see.
moment, yeah, we are in the time of sorrow of
course.
the Pope's passed away. And we are today talking about current affairs in this book, what has happened around the world, and also what's going on. I'm handing it over to you, Sia. What do you think? What are the topics you think we can talk
The big thing is the death of the Pope, of course, but I don't know so much more to say about that. We will see the next days how it will come out. One thing I'm thinking of is that in Russia, Putin said that he should have a ceasefire for, I think it was 36 hours. And it stopped, I think it was late yesterday, that time. But I saw news that they showed that Russia had attacked over 2,000 times during those hours. So it was a lie.
Okay.
Or the other choice is that he can't control his army. That I don't think. So
he's not a person who's walking his talk.
no, and that many has said before, of course. It still affects Sweden anyway, because a ceasefire had get us some feeling of that the process is going at the right direction. But when we see how it was, then the risk is still there, and I think people even feel it even more.
Okay.
The risk of expansion of the war like that. And Sri Lanka is far away, but I think some way it must affect you too that he's lying.
The thing is, when the war started, we got hit by the fuel prices and also, you name it, a food hike, price hike.
Yeah.
And it affects small economies like Sri Lanka in different ways. It's actually financial trauma back in Sri Lanka while these things happen. For us, it's a huge impact on imports and the prices of paying more for goods because of the shipments and imports, exports. We export a lot to Russia as well in terms of they are one of the leading buyer of Sri Lankan Ceylon tea.
Okay.
And so there's issue also. Even Ukraine, a huge buyer of Sri Lankan tea, and we literally lost that market due to the war. So yes, of course, Sri Lanka has been hit by financial turmoil with this not only Russian Ukraine war in terms of Middle East, that also affects on small, economies like Sri Lanka. Yeah, yeah, that's what. And apart from that, how the European Union also reacts to certain things, like we have GST plus. When we export our goods to Europe, we have a term called GST plus, which we have a good benefit on in terms of exporting in regards to taxes and trading. It's a kind of treaty. Exactly. Between Sri Lanka and Europe. Yeah. They have given many Southeast Asian countries the same facility, but we have to renew it soon. It due to this Trump's tariff crisis and stuff. We don't know how the European Union will adjust accordingly the GST. No. Because they also have to seek options to mitigate or fill the gaps. So in terms of that, we don't know how it will be affecting on Sri Lankan. Well, we will see the coming week. Yes. If the stocks going up or they're going down. With regards to stocks, what do you think in Sweden? The stock prices. The stock market has been chaotic the last weeks, as in many other countries. I think we have lost about 15-20% from January to now. So it has been shocking, and mostly it's because it's so uncertain, everything. The Swedish government has announced an additional 11.5 billion SEK, $1.18 billion in spending for 2020 in terms of the news, and supplementing a previously planned 60 billion SEK boost. So it's a plus. Well, Sweden has a very solid economy from the start. When we went into the COVID pandemic, we had a good economy, so we could get through that crisis, and we still have a good economy. And the latest is also that the government has decided to borrow more money for a short time, and will pay off that loan. I think it was during 5 or 6 years, just to have finances for reforms. So we'll see. It's hard for people compared to before those crises, especially for young families or those that have only one parent, single parents, families with the food prices, for instance, and the inflation is high, still high. So we are in a crisis, but compared to many other countries, I would not complain. Yeah, I mean, this decisions of elevating the expenditures for 7.5 billion by the government from Sweden has been done due to the challenges triggered by the trade war of Donald Trump now itself. So they have responded to that, and also the economy, which had been expected to grow by 2.1% due to tax cuts and lower mortgage rates, now faces a downgraded growth forecasts also. Like, so there's another issue of the mortgage interest and stuff. What do you think of that? I mean, uh, growth of 2.1% has been not been met accurately, I think, at the moment. Is it right? I really don't know. Also, immigration policy of Sweden has been changed. There are changes. There will be changes as of April 1st, 2025. Sweden has ended the track change policy, which previously allowed rejected asylum seekers to apply for work permits. This change affects both applicants and their family members, aligned with the government's stricter migration stance. So, what does that mean for you? For us, it's not an effect, but for asylum seekers, families, there will be no work permits. Yeah. They will be not getting work permits for asylum seekers and their family members from April 1st, 2025. So it has already started. And I'm talking about Sweden, international engagement. Sweden is now at Expo 2025, Osaka, Japan. They are representing the country in Osaka, Sweden. At Expo, that's an exhibition. Do you know about proposed sale of fighter jets to Peru? I think Swedish fighter jets have been proposed to sell to Peru. Yes, I'm not. I don't know anything about that. And what do you know about the Great Moose Migration? That's an event
that has been very popular. I saw that CNN has a short and show a link to that program that is live and 24 hours a day. They are zooming in on certain areas up in the north of Sweden where they follow the mooses wandering. They go from one spot to another, and it's the same trail they go each year. So you sit and watch and look, and suddenly there comes one, two, three, maybe five, six mooses, and it has been enormously popular all over the world. Yeah.
In Sweden.
Yeah, and it's I've seen there's a link and you can go into it and look yourself, and it's very calm video.
So people are
So
coming to just watch that.
yeah, and there are long periods that when nothing happens.
Uh-huh.
You just look at the nature, hear some sounds, birds and like that, and then suddenly something happens
Okay.
out in the wild nature.
So it's good, great thing for nature lovers.
Yeah, it is. And if you want to calm down, you can also look at it. It's like meditation.
To relax yourself.
Yes, but it is a phenomenon. This that it's popular all over the world.
And what else happening around Sweden these days? So you know.
Well, people are preparing now for 1st of May,
Yeah, Labor Day.
Labor Day.
What do you think of summer, the country, how we get prepared for midsummer? Mostly people are going on holidays.
You mean Midsummer in Sweden?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very popular festival, and people are going to see their families and friends and like that to celebrate the summer. But it's still a few weeks until then. It's 24th or something of June. So
2019. If I recall that that time I was actually at home. Normally, I go to church that day. I went to church and normally we would go out as a family to visit some places because it's a holiday and have some lunch or something. And suddenly, I was also living in the main city, which this thing happened, Colombo, and I had a kind of a feeling that I felt like no, I would go in the evening, not in the morning. I told my mom also, no, we'll go later. I don't feel quite well. I will have a nap. Then suddenly I got some news alerts saying there are some blasts happening in churches in Colombo. And also up northeast, some one of the church and also
bombs and
bombs.
grenades.
Yes, we first of all we thought it wasn't some bombs. We thought like some crackers, firecrackers.
Yeah.
News was suddenly was like the breaking news was like not saying about bombs because we didn't have a war at that time because the war was ended like for decade. And suddenly this thing happened. It's a new thing. Nobody thought this was like suicide bomb. Suddenly, then after 1 hours, 1.5 hours time, there were news of saying there was suicide bombing. This has been done by extreme group of Muslim extreme group. They said at that time. If I may come to now present situation, people know who did it.
And it was not a Muslim.
Now they have been used. This extreme group have been used by a political agenda.
Oh,
A group of people who wanted to come into the power, and they did it. They actually used people as a shield. They did this. I mean, this is awful. And the funny part is, and the sad part is, still the government of Sri Lanka or the governments who after this bomb blast happened, the governments were there, couldn't have been able to solve the problem.
okay.
They didn't actually take anyone to proper people to custody, and they couldn't actually
So
say
no one was accused for
not
it.
accused yet. That's the saddest part today. And that's one of the things you talk today's popes passed away, and also the anniversary same day.
So you have a bad, but you have a day of sorrow
Day of sorrow
in Sri Lanka today by two reasons.
Yeah, not only Sri Lankans died that day. A lot of foreigners died also.
Oh.
And actually in the hotels. The bombs went off in not only churches, also in
Hotels.
hotels. In three churches as well as two hotels. One of the bombers actually blast himself in one of the hotels. He actually went and blast himself in where he has lost. That's sad. It was a sad day. We were shocked. There were like aftermath after that, like after effects of that also. Still, we are suffering from that. So it's a day to not to forget, but a day to be. So you have there are things to think, a lot of things. And also in terms of Sri Lanka, the inflation trends actually inflation rate rose to minus 1.9% in March 2025 from minus 3.9%. Because from minus 3, it has been again rising due to, I think, this tariff uh, war and other economical aspects. IMF bailout in progress. The discussions are still going on because we are an IMF program bailing out ourselves, and also US trade relations, meetings, and regards to if they are going to meet US government officials, discuss and convince them to bring it down. Uh, but it's ongoing. There's an ongoing case also in Sri Lanka, and also the FBI also actually sent out a report with regards to FBI or CIA with regards to this attack. They have also given their report what has happened. So there's a high court case also going on, and also the investigations are going on. You can search as viewers. You can search. You already know.
It's a lot of conspiracy theories going on in the world about everything.
Yeah,
You love conspiracy theories.
I love conspiracy theories.
I don't like it.
We talked about that just moments back. It's same thing, there is a para government under each government in each country. Same thing. Yeah, same thing happened to John F. Kennedy, right? I believe also because with regards to latest report released from American government, it's clearly stated that CIA and FBI knew it before, and they placed all these shooters. Also, the shooters were linked to CIA, and we think like there's a government that we see a government as a government in each country, but sometimes they are not the actual ones who are controlling the country. There might be business people.
You can say that the government is like puppets.
Exactly, they are puppets. Behind them, the threads have been controlled by business, maybe large business, multi-millionaire companies, owners, and maybe some, mafia groups, some underworld groups, some certain things. Same thing happened in Sri Lanka with regards to this East bombing. There was a paramilitary, para government, because the government at that time called Yahapalane came in defeating the former government Rajapaksa. They actually ruled like a decade after war. Also, they are the ones who ended the war, but they actually was selling the war to come into power again and again. Like, oh, we beat terrorists and we beat that and we did this and that. Then they lost one of the elections and this other party came into power and they wanted again the power back because the party who came into the power as a government, they one by one they took out the cases and cases of this former government. What they have done wrong, maybe bribery, maybe things, murder cases, corruptions. So these guys wanted to come back to power to stop that. So they planned this. So in terms of para government, everywhere I think there's para government. We just see a president or a prime minister or someone just for the sake of representing the country. But it's not the right way, as you said. Also, maybe in Mexico, Colombia, there will be drug cartels in Colombia who's controlling all the, economy and parts of the country. They have their own armies, military. Even in African region, also nowadays there are few countries that having issues with. They've been controlled by this military personnel, and there is no such government, and they don't have diplomacy there.
Many people says that it's a few percent of the population that are millionaires that controls and rules everything through banks and connections and economical affairs and like that. That rules the decisions of politicians and like.
I think it was the same like in Kingsman back in England. The king changed the rule because he had conflict of interest with the church, and he changed the rules and he made his own rule to marry many queens, ladies.
That
and then there was a religion started called Church of England. So at that time, even though king was there, sometimes the power is being held by priest
somewhere else. Yeah.
the church. So likewise, there are things that you can talk. We will talk about conspiracy theories also because that's one of my lines. But you're not.
Well, it's interesting to hear, to listen to,
Yes.
but you must take care of the truth also.
Yes.
Now I was thinking about the Pope again, the Catholic Church as an financial system is also very powerful in many countries and has a huge impact on the society and also political decisions, I think. For good or worse, I don't know, but it's a powerful system.
Yeah, I can remember the Pope before this Pope.
Mm.
He because of he was from Poland, right?
I think so. Yes.
Because of he requested only Poland became one of the members of EU.
Yeah.
Because he requested
Yeah.
at that time.
Okay.
As I remember, maybe it's not right, but I remember that he requested from the politicians to make Poland likewise. So there's a huge impact from the Pope to the society and the world. And in this episode, I think we can't cover the whole thing, but we have discussed about what's happening now. Anything to add, Sia?
No, a bit serious and sad presentation and talk, but that's life. You can't have only good things when the world appears like it does today. So, hope you have had a good time with us.
Yeah, we'll come back with the next episode with a different subject, different topic.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.